The Braves rotation is like a puzzle this season. Some pieces are already locked in, a few pieces are still floating around, and there's some spots we're still trying to figure out. So today I'm going to go ahead and try and piece this Braves rotation puzzle together for you. Let's go ahead and start with those locked in pieces. Starting with Chris Sale, who came to Atlanta on December 30th, 2023 in exchange for Vaughn Grissom. Before being traded to Atlanta, Sale had been dealing with a number of injuries, but in 2024 he put up 6.4 WAR in 177 2/3 innings, which led all of baseball in 2024. Now, while Sale was healthy for most of the season, he did end up going down at the end of September with back spasms, which caused him to miss the wild card round where the Braves were swept by the Padres. Now, all reports have Sale as fully healthy and ready to go for the 2025 season, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Sale get more scheduled rest throughout 2025 to help ensure that he's healthy come October. Now, another solid piece in the Braves rotation puzzle is Reynaldo Lopez. Lopez signed with Atlanta on November 20th, 2023, and it was announced he would be converting from a reliever back to a starter. And what an amazing switchback that's been, as Lopez made 25 starts for the Braves in 2024, and in 135 2/3 innings, he was worth 3.5 WAR, making him the 20th most valuable pitcher in all of baseball. Not bad for a guy who's had glimpses of brilliance in his career, but also didn't even make the White Sox team out of camp in 2021 as a 27-year-old. Now, unfortunately for Lopez, his 2024 saw him leave runners on base at an insane 87% rate, which is not sustainable. He also began suppressing home runs at a rate well below his norm. These are some things we have to look out for when it comes to Lopez in 2025 and beyond, especially his left on base rate, as that's really not one that he has much control over, and when it starts to head closer to league average, then all of his numbers are going to slip with it. But despite the few orange flags in his profile, Lopez is still a solid pitcher who will likely continue to be one of the top pitchers in the game for the foreseeable future. Bringing us to our next locked-in puzzle piece, we have Spencer Schwellenbach. Schwellenbach had an insane rise to the majors last year, as he was assigned to high A ball out of camp, and he really wasn't thought of as being all that close to the majors, along with having other guys like Smith-Shawver and Hurston Waldrep seemingly closer and higher regarded. But despite all of that, Schwellenbach wasted no time in the minors, as he only needed 6 starts in High A Rome and 2 starts in Double A Mississippi before being promoted to Atlanta on May 29th. And from there, he would never look back, as Schwellenbach posted insane numbers for his rookie year, putting up 2.6 WAR in 123 2/3 innings. Schwellenbach features 5+ pitches, with his slider and cutter being among his best offerings. Now, despite having an amazing arsenal, Schwellenbach does not walk many batters, as he put up an elite walk rate last year. Schwelly has the potential to be one of, if not the best pitcher in all of baseball. That brings us to our last solid piece for the Braves rotation in Spencer Strider. Now, Strider's been dealing with the UCL injury, but reports are that he's progressing well and could be back as early as May. When healthy, Strider is right up there with Sale in being one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, as in 2023 his 5.5 WAR was second in all of baseball. Strider's a known commodity at this point, but he too had an insanely fast rise through the minors, as he was drafted in the 4th round of the 2020 draft, and he pitched a total of 21 games in the minors in 2021 before breaking out with Atlanta in 2022 and putting up 4.9 WAR over 131 2/3 innings. The Braves will be praying that they can head into October with a healthy Sale and Strider at the minimum, but with Strider out until at least May, that does leave 2 spots out of camp that need to be filled. So let's move on to those pieces that aren't locked in and are still floating around a little bit. Starting with the most obvious name in Grant Holmes. Holmes spent literally a decade in the minors before breaking out with Atlanta in 2024, where he put up a strong 1.2 WAR in 68 1/3 inning, while posting good strikeout and walk rates. Now, Holmes probably won't suppress home runs at such a high rate moving forward, and his batting average on balls and plays is a little high, but there's nothing in his profile that says he can't be a solid back end of the rotation option. all the projections have him putting up somewhere around 1-ish WAR over 100-ish innings, which, like I said, would be a solid 5th starter. Now, another piece floating around is Ian Anderson. The 3rd overall draft pick in the 2016 draft, Anderson was a highly touted prospect who came up in 2020 and showed good numbers in 6 starts. Anderson also made the postseason roster in 2020 and made 4 more solid starts for Atlanta, even tossing 6 innings of no-run ball against the Reds in Game 2 of the wildcard series. 2021 was Anderson's first full year in the majors, and he would go on to put up 1.8 WAR in 128 1/3 innings. 2022 saw Anderson's strikeout and walk numbers regress significantly as he posted .9 WAR in 111 2/3 innings. And for the first time in his career, he was left off the postseason roster. 2023 didn't start off very good for Anderson either, as he was assigned to AAA Gwinnett out of camp, and after just 1 start, he would go down needing Tommy John surgery. Anderson spent all of 2023 and 2024 recovering from Tommy John surgery. 2025 looks to be a better year for Anderson, as long as he stays healthy, there's plenty of upside here. Bringing us to another piece that's been floating around a bit between the Braves and Gwinnett's rotation and Bryce Elder. Elder came up and initially put up good numbers for the big league club, as 2022 saw Elder put up .8 WAR in 54 innings. But the strikeout numbers were low, his walk rate wasn't great, and he was somehow suppressing home runs at a very high rate. 2023 saw Elder make 1 start in AAA before being promoted to the big leagues, where he would go on to put up 1.8 WAR in 174 2/3 innings, en route to his first All-Star appearance. Elder struck out less batters in 2023, and he started suppressing home runs at a more reasonable clip, but his batting average on balls in play, FIP and xFIP show that there's plenty of room for regression. And in 2024, regression happened, as Elder began giving up home runs on fastballs at about twice the rate he did in his debut season, along with his batting average on balls in play skyrocketing, and his left on base rate cratering. So there was also plenty of bad luck for Bryce Elder in 2024. He's pitched well at AAA Gwinnett, including in 2024, and his profile looks fine for a back-end guy, but his lack of strikeouts, velocity, and his meh walk rates are all very worrying. Bringing us to our next set of pieces that are floating around, but are prospects and really haven't, if any, seen much time in the majors yet. Starting with top 100 prospect, AJ Smith-Shawver, who is my #1 Braves prospect going into the season. Smith-Shawver was drafted in the 7th round out of high school in 2021, and by 2023 he had made it all the way to the big leagues as a young 20-year-old, where in 5 starts he looked overmatched, but again, he was only 20, and he had solid numbers in the minors, including at Double and AAA. 2024 saw Smith-Shawver repeat AAA, where he put up an elite strikeout rate for a 21-year-old, along with a good walk rate. Smith-Shawver already has a plus 90s fastball, along with a plus curveball and a potentially plus changeup. One thing to remember is that at only 22 years old, Smith-Shawver is the same age as 2024 college draft picks. And unlike any of them, AJ has not only already reached the upper minors, but he's already shown he can handle them too. After Smith-Shawver, the Braves have another top 100 prospect in Hurston Waldrep. Waldrep has seen some time in the bigs without much success yet, debuting in 2024 and pitching 2 forgettable games. But that's in a small sample size. Like Smith-Shawver, Waldrep has tore up the minors, and at a young age too. Drafted 24th overall out of the University of Florida in 2023, Waldrep made it all the way to AAA for 1 start in his draft year. It seems the biggest question with Waldrep right now is whether or not he can rein in his control enough to be a viable starting pitcher. If not, his upper 90s fastball and elite splitter give him the floor of a solid relief pitcher. So now that we have all the pieces, let's go ahead and put this puzzle together so that we can reveal the full picture. Get it? Pitcher? Like a baseball pitcher? 1 through 3 is settled with Sale, Schwellenbach, and Lopez. And when Strider comes back, he's gonna reclaim his spot in the Braves rotation. But he's reportedly gonna be out until at least May, leaving the Braves with 2 open spots for the rotation out of camp. Now, one thing to mention is Ian Anderson and Grant Holmes are both out of minor league options, meaning they cannot be sent to the minors without first passing through waivers. It just seems highly unlikely to me that a team like Sacramento or South Chicago would pass up on a free chance for either Grant Holmes or Ian Anderson. So I think because of that, the Braves will roll with Grant Holmes and Ian Anderson as their 4 and 5 guys to start out the year. Now that's barring some terrible spring performances, but even then I still think the Braves just kind of roll with them to start the year because I just don't see either of them making it through the waiver wire right now, so you might as well see what you've got with them for a few starts before Strider comes back. But even if they both make the rotation out of camp like I think they will, then I still believe that they will both be continuing to audition for not only a spot in the rotation, but a spot on the team. As once Strider comes back, one of them's gone. Regardless of how well they pitch, one of them's leaving the rotation. But let's say both of them are pitching well when Strider comes back, you could easily just slide one of them to the bullpen and allow the other one to continue as your 5th starter. Now obviously if one's doing good, one's doing bad, just cut the bad one at that point. And if neither of them are performing well, then just cut both of them at that point. And if that happens, then I'd expect AJ Smith-Shawver to be your next man up. Or it could be Elder, Waldrep, or we could actually see a Spencer-esque rise from someone like Drew Hackenberg or Lucas Braun. But anyways, that'll do it for this one. Be sure to subscribe, and as always, I hope you all have a wonderful day.